During this class, we've been looking at a lot of different options when it comes to careers in family and consumer sciences. We've explored a lot of the different categories of things that you might be interested in. So for chapter 14, we're going to be looking at ourselves. We're going to be doing some self-assessments to see maybe how our personality would fit into some of those different career fields and looking at the things that are important to us, the things that um, we're good at, things that we like to do. So that can help guide you in figuring out which one of those career fields would be best for you when you're trying to decide on a major, or maybe you've already decided on a major, but trying to figure out exactly what you want to do with that, which field you want to go into specifically. So in chapter 14, as you go through your textbook, there's going to be a lot of different self-assessment kind of charts and things like that. Um, the textbook asks you to go through that with a notebook, in hand, pen and paper, some way that you can keep track of these things, so that you can have those results with you and you can keep those and be able to use them in the future when you're making these decisions. So we're going to look at a few different types of personal assessments. You're going to be writing down things that personality traits, things that you have accomplished in the past. One of the things that we're looking at is taking a career interest test, kind of to see what would be a good fit for you as far as careers go. So you can go to the Career Center on campus if you are close to USM. You can go there and they'll give you a career test and it helps narrow down what fields, just based on your personality traits, what fields would be fitting for you. If you're not close to campus, there are a lot of these types of career guidance tests, personality tests, and things like that on the internet. So you can just Google something like, what career is best for me, personality test type of that type of search, and a lot of different results will come up. And so you can do those on your own, and it can really help give you some ideas, things that you might not have thought of before. Something might pop up on one of those tests that you hadn't ever even heard of, and then you can kind of go from there and do research on things that are a good fit for you. So this brings us to our participation grade for this week. The textbook asks you to write down a list of your key accomplishments, things that you have achieved in the past, that things that you're proud of that you've done. So for your participation grade for this week, I want you guys to tell me what one of those accomplishments is. So you don't have to give me your whole list. You don't have to go into a lot of detail. Just type into that text box in the assignment drop box what is one thing that you have accomplished that you're proud of. And that could be anything. It could be something related to school or your family or your personal life. Really, it just tell me what you're something that you're proud of that you have accomplished. And when we look at our past accomplishments, that can help us to figure out what kind of career we want to go into, because the things that we have accomplished in the past might give us a good idea of things that we would be interested in, something that a skill that you might have that would help you be able to determine what career you want to go into. Um, One of these on the list that they give in the textbook is that you helped an elderly neighbor. So if that's something that you were interested in, you're obviously going to be interested in helping people. Maybe you want to work with the elderly. Maybe you're good at organizing things and you went in and you took care of their house and things like that. So that really could lead into a career then in doing those types of things um, as a job, helping people find housing for their elderly parents and things like that is one of the jobs that we have talked about as an option in the family and consumer sciences. So these accomplishments and things that we've done in the past, things that we know we're good at, things that make us proud, we feel good about ourselves, like that could give you a clue as to something that you might want to do in the future. And then we've got our values. So these are just kind of the attitudes, beliefs, and things that will guide you as an individual. And these can be different for every person. If you're interested in family and consumer sciences, a lot of those jobs have to do with helping others. And so when we look at the things that are important to us, that can help you to determine what kinds of jobs might be good for you in the future. If you really have a passion for helping children, then you probably are in the right place and you can go into one of those fields in the early childhood type of department. If you are really introverted and you're shy and you don't like to get up in front of people, maybe you realize that recreation management is not going to be a good fit for you because you have to be up in front of crowds and guiding people through fun activities, and that's just something that you don't feel comfortable with. So just looking at things that are important to you, the beliefs that you have, your belief system can really help to guide your career. If there's something that you really strongly believe in and you're passionate about, maybe you go work for a nonprofit that is in that field that really would help to forward that belief system that you have. Then one other thing to consider is family influence. So our families can give us advice, and a lot of times that can be good advice. Sometimes it can be difficult when your family's putting pressure on you. One of the things that we talk about in some of the child development classes, adolescent development, this is something that we kind of go through as a teenager. Um, Maybe your family is really just set on everybody in the family being a certain career, right? Maybe you have a family business and they just want everybody to go into that family business and there's really no other option. So there are situations like that, and it can be difficult. That would be something called identity foreclosure, when you kind of don't have a chance to really explore your own identity and figure out what you want for yourself. So that's just something to think about if your family has been um, strongly influencing you in one career or another, just to really think about what is best for you and what you want to do with your life. So just because it makes mom and dad happy doesn't mean it makes you happy. So it's just something to think about when you think about the advice that people give you. And we absolutely can take our family's advice, and they want what's best for us, and they probably have some things that could help us. But when it comes to choosing a career, just keep that in mind, that you want to pick something that's right for you and for your life. And then the last part, we're going to talk about skills and assets. So an asset is something that will help you in your future career. So right now you're gaining your education. Everybody in this class is gaining an asset by being here and learning these things. Um, Skills, it's not necessarily something that you're born with, like a personality trait, but it's something that you can learn over time. So like communication is definitely a learned skill. Some people are naturally better at communicating, but it's something that can be learned. So if you are learning communication skills through your education, that could help you if you decide to go into a field like social work or something like that, where communication is really important. So as you're going through this chapter, just think about what skills you might need for the job that you're looking at, and make sure that you're gaining the educational assets that you would need to be able to be successful at that job. So just to wrap up, this chapter is pretty straightforward. It really is just kind of looking at yourself and figuring out what things you like, what your preferences are, what your beliefs are. Really looking at yourself and what you think would help you be able to decide what type of career you want to go into. One of the most important parts of this class that we want to accomplish is to just help you explore and figure out what you want to do with your education, and to really help guide you in a more specific direction. So this chapter can be very beneficial in helping you find a good fit.